So there's code on screen, pause if you need to. I'll also be going through, I guess, the intro of what this is as a series, but the mechanics, as I'll show you right here, are part of it anyway, and it's important to show you this regardless, because if you can't read the text in-game, you can just read it here. So, and there's kind of a little detail about that. But yes, so these two lines I wanted to add, so this is one line, just one paragraph of a line. You'll see the same text appear at the beginning of a run whenever I hit quick play, because that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do, but however, I want to make it explicit that yes, these two lines of code do not actually do anything with the gameplay. It's easy to mistake that when certain, not variables, but basically certain lines of code say, hey, this, and then someone asks, hey, does this do anything? And I say, no, it's just text. So that's all I want to explain on this one. Again, you'll see it later on, and I can explain it more there. Otherwise, this one I didn't really explain, but this is pretty much the meat of experience gaining for the Timeworn Katana. I know I spelled it wrong, bear with me, I was busy for the last hour. But I did, the bug that appeared in the behind the scenes was because I did something like this. So global string equals last common action used, and for some reason it was repeated twice, which will obviously not work. It doesn't break the game or crash the game, but it does mean that any lines of code in the parentheses here does not work. And as shown here, actually, if I can make this more clear, this is for weapon attacks to gain 6 experience. I decided to tweak it a little because wasn't getting it fast enough, but I didn't want to tweak it so much that you got it in a run with a lot of easier enemies, even as much as that may not make sense. And then as usual, again, do the level up basically, so this is just a message that tells you, but these are the two bigger lines that are called later on when you were actually dealing damage. Usually it'll say 0, but if there's a bug that has to do with deal damage, I guess I'll see it whenever it happens. I don't think there should be, but anywho. And then these are pretty much the same lines of code. These are pretty much if-else statements, which is what this colon is dividing. So if this is true, then do this. Otherwise, do the rest of this remaining 2 blocks of code pretty much, which is the same thing for strong attacks, except you get 9 experience. And then the same thing for the sever action, which you get 10 experience because ghost encounters. That's my little balance. It doesn't need to be this way, but I chose it for now. If I make small tweaks, it's not like I released this anywhere out in the wild yet, so shrug, right? And there were other actions I wanted to use, like brace, boost, prepare your attack, which I don't actually know how to call it. I didn't test it because I decided not to use it anyway, and the reason for that is because you can basically game the system with those things unless you can combine, basically look for the next action that's used. But even if that were the case, you could just put in like 7 attack boosts and get 1 experience per, which is quite a lot in the span of an encounter if that only does 1 stamina or 1 reason. That being said, so we're going to enter the character select screen, but only to showcase something, because I'm going to be hitting quick play. Yeah, shrug, that's all I need to say. So just to show, I'm not actually going to release the characters like this. If I were to release anything, it would probably actually just be a backstory. But I just wanted to show that all of these were changed. The reason why this matters is so that I can hit quick play and basically randomize things. Yes, I could just hit this, but I feel like hitting quick play and that just going with what we have here. So you can see on the top right hand, I basically just did a lot of copy and pasting. To make sure that I know that perma is enabled. I did not change any graphics. I wish I could, but I don't have the time for that. So we're gonna reset to the screen and go quick play. You'll see Nurse Miku there. She shouldn't be randomized. I forgot if Yumiko and or Kana can be quick played, but it's been such a long time since I hit this. But anyway, into the run we go. So for timestamp's sake, because I also set up OBS, as we get a Zol Knight Errant into an Aiko. Again, because I did an override of the characters at base, then yeah, we have the Timeworn Katana things. I'll explain that more later on just to make certain things clear for legal terms and services and all those official reasons, but we can read the Timeworn Katana first. So for this challenge, you must survive 8 runs with the Timeworn Katana as your sole weapon. This kind of relies on the player hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and as you saw in that event. This weapon will gain experience for every weapon attack, strong attack, and sever action performed. Upon gaining enough experience, it will deal an extra bonus damage upon using one of the aforementioned battle actions for each level. Every 2 runs, the Timeworn Katana will become stronger to help you survive subsequent runs. So as I mentioned in the behind the scenes 2-parter, I decided to make the katana stronger over the course of your runs because I felt that it made more sense to make it stronger than make it weaker and make a run harder, because you're already going through the marathon that is runs back to back to back, especially if they're randomized like this. More to say on that later as well, but yeah, I don't want to make it a slog. I want to give you a strong katana and then have you deal with the aftermath, which I think is more complementary to being able to strategize well in World of Horror, as much as you need anyway. So, as we get charisma, knowledge, strength, second encounter, second mystery, maybe Takuchi-san, to explain what the override for the characters is, again, it's not changing any of the base World of Horror files or code. It is simply, again, saying, hey, look over here and use these Ito files instead for these the information in these Ito files for the base characters, which is why when the variable asks you to patch over the base character, you're not actually overwriting anything. You are simply, I assume you're simply directing the information to what Ito files you want. In this case, Ito files. Again, just to state really directly here, this is with Perm. If you don't know what Perm is, don't worry about it. All you need to know is that it changes a lot of things. Again, I know that this is redundant by now because likely 90% of people watching will already know the deal, but just in case. So, especially since the first episode of the series. So, Botanist, Vigil, we don't get Kana because we get Coma with no custom mystery. So, Auteur, Diary, Coma, Vigil, Botanist, I think we'll be okay here. Not really a lot of bosses, so the downside here is what happens when I get a random item stats, which is why I left the base damage at 4 for the moment, but I'm shrugging in real life as I say. It could go either way. This could be really easy or it could be really hard for me. Again, I need to state that because most of the time it's me making the mistakes for a lot of my failed runs. I'm deciding whether or not I want to take Coma or Auteur first. I normally take Coma last, but because I don't remember Diary... Yeah, because I think actually Diary is a forced boss as well. So, I could make this... Actually, can you make it unequivocal? Unequipable? I could just add a penalty to unequipping the Timeworn Katana. But otherwise, yeah, I wanted to get Coma out of the way so I don't have to deal with any reason shenanigans. Then we can do Vigil fourth into Botanist. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to take Botanist first and then do Auteur, Diary, and then leave Coma for last, as I usually do. The reason I do that, your base World of Horror, at least reinforcement of advice for the day, is that Coma, you don't die from the reason loss at the end if you do a non-ending A. So you might as well leave it for last and, deal with all the reason that you're taking with the other mysteries, whatever they may be. At least that's my personal opinion on the matter. Again, I don't always do that. Actually, I do always do that. I take Coma last. But the point I'm trying to make is that you can do whatever you feel is better for you. Maybe you're trying to be cool and fight the boss of Coma in ending A, then I would definitely say, okay, maybe you want to take it as your third mystery or second mystery instead. Not your first because you don't have anything unless your name is Aiko, but, so. Ow, my foot. I stepped on a coin. I have just a quarter here so I can flip and just play RNG in real life. That's a strange tangent to make, but anywho. Goodness. And yeah, so, yeah, if I do strong attacks and regular attacks, that's going to be my main source of experience here. I mean, it's the only source of experience for the katana. But just to say, 85 speed is not the slowest thing in the world. If it were only doing 3 damage, however, we would have a very, 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 very bad time. So, yeah, as seen here. Why? Oh, Aiko. I was like, why am I taking only -1 all? It's because we're Aiko. Can we? Wow, we can do this as Aiko? Well, okay, well... Good RNG in the run. If I lose, it's really on me to lose this run, basically. There's not really much else to say. So that should be, yeah, 24 experience right now, because each attack is 4. If I do a strong here, we can get more experience. So that's... I left that kind of on purpose, just to give you a little bit of... Just to give a bit of a brain exercise to myself. I said to you, but again, this Timeworn Katana is nowhere on the internet yet. So if I were to release it somewhere... it would have been correct for me to say you. But otherwise, also note here that there are other actions that exist in the game. I'm wondering how... I feel like a lot of them is just the names that you see on the top left, on the left-hand side here. But maybe I'm not wrong. Again, I would probably just test that out myself just to see. Again, I'm just giving you a peek into my mind as I'm going through, because there's not really much happening. I always take that ending with Botanist. There's not really any reason to take other ones unless you're purposely trying to see the ending for whatever reason. I don't think there's even an achievement for... No, there shouldn't be. So, Auteur and Diary. The order in which... I'll take Diary now. That's right, we're on Is All as well. So, you know what? We're going to pop the Inspiring Novel here because I'm not sure if we're going to fight anything in Auteur. Shrug. That's the end of the sentence. And yes, that partly is because I just wanted to get out of the inventory. That way I don't make human mistakes later on. So, What I should have done is actually visit the police station because we do have coma. So yeah. Now I didn't check what my other max threat level location was, but that should be fine. Yeah, well, we were just in botanist, so we already visited the forest a whole bunch anyway. So that's right. This is high power. You know what? I might as well gamble. 35%. Let's see if we get a 1 out of 3. No, we do not. So prep strong. There's probably a more efficient way to go through this, but as as I continue to play World of War, my mind is slowly getting bogged down by my own not experience, but basically me wanting to autopilot more, which doesn't really make as much sense. So catch him, dexterity, stats don't matter, so that's why I don't think that hard anyway. Actually, if you wanted to think hard there, you could just choose to assume that you're going to fail every stat check and treat every run as an ill-fated run. But as we stand here and fight Daisuke along with Koji on our side, do I dare? It's 3 stamina. To note, he would have been doing 4 stamina, unless I have some kind of injury, but I don't think so. Also, we have things on our inventory. We need to actually get rid of them. I could handcuff this as well. Do I want to? I'd have to gamble. I'd rather do an attack. I do need to hit an attack because I want this katana level up. Now, strategically, you could choose not to, especially if you miss 60% 3 times, but I'm choosing to do what I'm doing here. Even if we have Tachi-san, I think I just do this. And we're trying to fit as many attacks as possible, so I can get experience for the Timeworn katana. So, as we move on here, something to note though that I did want to talk about, because it's something that I've talked about before, but then noticed as I was making the Timeworn katana. So the experience I get for normal attacks and strong attacks are kind of in this, not sweet spot range. Actually, I showed you at the very beginning, so I don't even remember. But basically, if I throw out numbers like, say, 6 and 9, the simple way to put it is that I don't want the strong attack, the benefits from strong attack, to be less than about. It needs to be in the range about 33 to 60% of an advantage. What I mean by that is if the normal attack gives me, say, 5 experience, then the strong attack should give me around 7 experience or 8 experience. The reason for that is that there are at least in World of War, there are some thresholds in which if you do 2 attacks, that's supposed to be better than a strong. It's how my mind plays it. And if you do a strong, that's better than 1 normal attack. Therefore, if you're making content, my advice, if you want to follow it, again, just do whatever's fun for you. But if you want to follow more gameplay logical advice, in my logic at least, you follow the 2 normal attacks are better than 1 strong attack, which is better than 1 normal attack. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And so that number-wise, it's a 33% to 66% range. We rolled a 10 anyway. What do you want from me? But yeah, that's the essential. That's basically the mathematical equation there. And again, I think as I said it, as I realized it as I said it, but the actual equation is 2 normal attacks are supposed to be better than a strong attack, which is supposed to be better than normal. Again, you can break this rule once you understand this and know how to play with it. So maybe you have a very special perm custom weapon that when you do a strong attack, it can proc crits. In fact, I made an item weapon like this. So, and with normal attacks, you can't proc a crit at all. Then yes, strong attacks might be better than 1 normal, or 2 normals, 2 normal attacks. However, again, there's still some strategy to that because strong attacks can be very, very slow. And so what ends up happening is maybe you can't fit a prep attack. Maybe you actually need to hope for a crit if you're doing a crit type weapon with a normal attack. And so you can only do 2 attack boosts instead of just doing a prep strong because you need to do you need to get a certain amount of damage. Again, I think you understand what I'm getting at this point. So playing around with that. Also, was that the experience roll, by the way? I have 2 items in inventory as well. 2 funds. I'm going absolutely insane. I did this to myself. I was autopiloting too much. As I said, this is my run to lose. That being said, we are also on Knight Errant, so that's why we just took a boatload of doom damage to the face, but also because I left 2 items in inventory and then proceeded to hold on to 4 funds. So, yeah, not much for it. Oh my goodness, I just realized, I mean, I know I can throw the funds away, but yeah, this is going to be a bit painful. So, I do need to toss every item that I have, if possible. And I think I'm just going to gobble the painkillers now, and then sell, store the robe. And we work with what we've got. Now I have to actually hope for doom decreases in the mansion. Although that's not on the game, that's on me. I really shouldn't need to rely on that, but because I made some whoopsies with Azal, only here will you find me doing that so often, so frequently. But, anywho, if nothing else, it's a good first episode to get in tune with the Timeworn Katana now that I'm playing it in full. I did test it in 1 or 2 mysteries, but in general, as you see there, I'm usually getting 1 bonus damage at about the 4th mystery. If I get a lot of encounters, which is painful HP-wise, I thought, that's still fine, because if you do hit that sweet spot of, hey, I'm on my 3rd mystery fighting the boss I want to fight that I think is the hardest in the run, and you have 1 bonus damage, that's fine, because maybe you fought so many encounters that you lost a lot of HP, and so you're rewarded with the bonus damage. Again, I could have added more effects to the Timeworn Katana, but let's just stick with something simple for now. Also Sever. So let's see if the Sever action works as intended as well. So 8 experience into 28. So yes, each Sever gives you 10 experience. You're not fighting many ghosts, and when you are fighting ghosts, they're normally actually quite painful in my opinion. That's why I'm designed the Katana to give you 10 experience per Sever. Also, we're just taking, we're definitely not doing ending A here, so we could actually, I think it is actually better to go for ending A here. Yeah, we will. So before we fight the old man, we need to toss the Vigil Pamphlet. We're gonna throw the Meat Cleaver at the boss here, but at this point, we're very likely to not survive, so what we need to actually end up doing here is throwing away this fun, but basically getting in practice to work with this Timeworn Katana. Again, it's not bad by any means, but I really did drop this run, didn't I? It was anything from I could have tossed the funds away or could have stored the items. I would have been doing a lot better, but we're here now, so we might actually get 2 bonus damage. But yes, so the reason I took that is I can reliably 3-shot that encounter. Even if, so with Aiko's plush toy, we would have been taking 3 doom, but even then we would have lost 6 doom with Knight Errant anyway, which is the 6 doom we would have lost. Now with Aiko and the plush toy, we only lose 4 doom, but you get the point I think at this point. And 10 experience rule, so I'm not gonna say that would have broken the run anyway, but boy oh boy. Also, I guess we just sell the flashlight. That buffers the monument use. So I clicked the sacrifice earlier. It's interesting to note, and I think I've seen this before, but it's been a while since I've seen it, if that's the case, where I click the button and then once I have the actual funds, or HP in this case, but really funds here, needed, the game decides to use the monument, which is very interesting to me. Anywho, we're just gonna go all out here. We just might as well go for something. Actually, if I wanted to go full RNG, I would dodge here, but that's a bit too much for me. So, actually, did that not succeed? Am I going crazy here? I thought I said it to say it should work correctly, where if only when I hit attacks do I get experience. Anyway, that being said, I was using a lot of attacks, so shrug, right? But anywho, I basically just need to get lucky a lot at this point. I'm not, so shrug. And yeah, with the experience rule and pain in my face, we're gonna die here. Actually, funny enough, yes, I could have rested with extra doom, but for how long, right? Did we have fetid fumes at any point? No, we actually didn't. So, yeah, this is my run to lose. But yeah, without further ado, great pilot episode to start with me doing human error. That's really need to lock in though. Without further ado, though, I guess I'll see you in the next episode.